The first parts of this video don't have sound. Later on, you'll be getting some fairly loud recordings of the engines and such on the plane. But this flight was courtesy of the Soaring by the Sea Foundation of Eugene, Oregon. They're dedicated to preserving military heritage and honoring veterans' services and educating younger generations. And they picked up this plane. The fellow bought it in 2020. And this fellow, Khoi Phap, is the grandson of the owner. He is the executive director of the Soaring by the Sea Foundation and made all of this possible. For those of you who may not remember, this is a picture of a PBY, 5A Catalina. They sometimes call them a Dumbo. 3,500 or so made, 104-foot wingspan, 64 feet, 35,000 pounds max weight, crew of 7. It was the first high-winged plane that was built that way, and the wing actually contained all the gasoline, very modern invention, and this was the first plane that used that. Some people said it was ugly because of that gun turret up on the nose, but it really inspired a lot of people. In fact, it always reminded me of something. There was something about its iconic shape that left some memories that came forward, and oh yeah, that's what it was. To go places where others hadn't gone, to do search and rescue, to be the eyes of the fleet. This was the first time I set my eyes on the plane. As I walked in the door to the hangar, they had built this hangar just for the plane. And I was reminded of all the pictures I'd seen of guys working, standing up on the wings and clambering all over it in the middle of ice floes in Greenland.
Burning just under a gallon an hour on that engine oil.
The streamlined shape of this plane never ceases to amaze me. Designed in 1935, she's like a shark with wings. If whales had wings, this is what they'd look like. Princess of the Stars, they called her. She actually sank a German submarine in World War II. Maybe they should have called her the Warrior Princess.
Chris,
Yes.
do you have any information on the man who actually bought this and put up the hangar?
Not in this film. That's available in other sources.
Yeah.
That, in fact, is the pilot. The fellow who's the pilot is backing the tractor out after having brought it out there. So he's also the tractor driver. And that is the co-pilot climbing out of the side portal of the plane. And right behind him is Khoi, who has all the life vests, which we were required to wear because they were talking about doing a water landing.
Chris, do you know
Everything was
what year this was actually built?
1943.
Just pull the handle out and rotate it clockwise, then push, and this entire window comes out. These blisters in the back, that's closed. There's a red handle on the far side. Pull that up to the ceiling, and then just rotate the whole thing open. You're in your seats during takeoff and landing. I'll let you know when you can get up and move around. What we're probably going to do is just keep you in your seats, and we'll take off from here, go land on the lake, take off again, and then I'll let you get up and move around a little bit. We'll just sort of, go around, and then we'll come back here.
That's when we found out.
Outstanding.
These three fellows are from New Zealand. They were in town to rebuild a P-40 that the museum there, this museum had acquired and is going to be rebuilt. And they had come in, they work for a company that explicitly rebuilds warbirds. And this fellow, I think he was turning on the engine. They had to do a long warm-up on these engines to get them running, to get them turning. They had to turn them over and turn them over before they could actually fire them up. And I neglected to press the sound on button for this portion of the video. That's looking up the gangway toward the front of the plane, looking forward. And this is when we're just starting to taxi out. We come up here and we find out that we're number 4. There's a plane landing, and then there's 2 planes taking off in front of us. A Beechcraft. I think that's a Debonair. And that's a Cessna 150, maybe 172.
And this is from Eugene Airport, right?
This is Eugene Airport, correct?
Which is my backyard. Is that airplane at the Oregon Air and Space Museum?
No, it's at its own museum. It's at its own hangar.
It's got its own hangar at the airport.
Yes. They built the hangar explicitly for this plane. Hey, it's our turn to take off.
So those turboprops go.
A pair of 14-cylinder radial engines. Hey, she's a bird again.
There you go.
Notice the clever little gear up, gear down indicator on top of the panel there. I think that's Spencer's Butte in the distance out to the east of the airport. We're heading south at the moment.
Yes, it is.
Now he's climbing out a little bit and turning around, coming back over toward the west. Now back out over the reservoir, Fern Ridge Reservoir. I'd never seen it from this perspective before. It's beautiful flying along on a plane like this. This plane was designed for observation, for rescue. You get a view from something like this that you just can't have any other way. He's coming from the north now. He's going to be on a final approach. Here we go.
So did they have to get special permission to land on Fern Ridge?
I don't know. Pardon the upside down camera while I start moving about the cabin. He's opened the port blister. And now it's a beautiful cruise out on the lake. You can reach your hand out the window and touch the water if you've got a long arm. plane can land in just short of 3 feet of water, by the way. It doesn't need a lot, just a big puddle. I can imagine hanging out the window and grabbing down flyers on lifeboats, which was part of the missions that these people routinely did. You can find pictures of that on the web. The visibility is amazing, even downward. I went up to the front of the plane at that point in time. I wanted to look up front. That's where the radio operator's position would have been. But just as I got up there, Coy came up and said, "Oh, we're leaving now, so you got to get back in your seat." So I didn't have a chance to hassle the pilots and find out anything. So there I go back again. So we were well equipped with people who could fly. Here we go. Watch the wingtip floats come up. My love of flying in smaller aircraft. I don't like flying in jets anymore for business and travel. By golly, this was fun. This picture kind of sums it up. This young lady who was there as a journalist, the sheer joy in her face, just totally amazed. The view out of the blister was just amazing. Some zen moments in there. There's a view I never had before, looking backward out of a large airplane. Experiencing the wind. Is coming back north across the lake toward where we landed. across this stretch of road. Now we're heading back out east. He makes a couple of turns, and here's the obligatory picture of the plane's shadow on the farmer's fields. Classic. And there you go, right there. He's turning on final. And we're across the fence. Over the fence.
Hey, Chris, were those wheels mechanically lifted down with a lever?
They have a mechanical lifter system built into them that was very, very, very difficult to operate, but they are hydraulically operated. It's the only thing that's hydraulic on the plane. The control surfaces are all manual by cables. That's our hangar, by the way. Lovely facility inside, and they're rebuilding a P-40 right now, a fighter as well. That's what those fellows were in from New Zealand to do. So there she is, 14 Papa 1. And thanks again to the Soaring by the Sea Foundation for making this possible. And thanks to you all for watching.